Good evening, everyone. This is Earl Rush. Good afternoon. This is Earl Rush with the Straight Up Talk Show with Earl Rush. And this evening, I have the pleasure and the honor of speaking with a young singer. His name is Jaime Andres. And he just got out of the studio with a collaboration with Frankie Vazquez. So we're going to catch up with Jaime and ask him about what he has going on, what his future plans are, and more specifically, we're going to ask him what it was like working in the studio with the living legend, Frankie Vazquez. Let me see if I can catch up with Jaime. Jaime, are you there?
What's going on, Earl? I'm here.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule, because I know it's busy, to sit down and talk with me. We're just going to start from where you started off from 5 years old up to the present time. So,
Well,
all our viewers can find out about you.
Well, I'm 39. I'm 39 years old. So let's start with that.
Okay. All right.
Now let's go back, right?
Okay. So, what is your heritage, Jaime?
Yeah, I'm Colombian. I was born and raised in Cali, Colombia.
Okay.
They call it the capital of the world of salsa. And so I was born there, and I was there until I was 18 years old, about 17, 18 years old. So Spanish is my first language. Then I arrived at JFK Airport in 1997. I was 17, 18 years old.
Okay.
And then from there it was like salsa was really at his best to me, in my opinion. It was still, you still had all the clubs, and it was like clubs that only played salsa,
Yeah.
And I love salsa since I was a kid, because we're big consumers in Cali, Colombia.
Okay.
But we're consumers and we're big dancers, but we didn't have too many musicians at that time.
Okay.
We didn't have too many creators of that, of the music. And I happened to come to New York, and then I at age 20, about 3 years later from being here, I spoke broken English, and I joined the U.S. Navy. I was in the Navy for 4 years. I did 2 deployments, Iraq, Afghanistan. Then I got out. We formed a little band in the Navy in an aircraft carrier, USS Enterprise.
Okay.
And I like to sing, so I started volunteering to sing salsa, because it was salsa music we were playing in the hangar. And I volunteered, and they told me that no volunteering. They said, you're the singer from now on. They kept me as a singer.
Okay.
But it was just I didn't have formal training at that point. I haven't had formal training at that point, but I was decent at it,
Okay.
Then I got out of the military and came back to New York, and I was going to be a police officer in New York. I didn't know what else to do. I was like, I'm not an electrician, I'm not a plumber. I was like, it only makes sense, right? Kind of like a transition.
Right.
But then my family didn't want that for me, and in the process of that, all respect to police officers, but my family just didn't want me to be in danger per se, right?
Right.
And they were like, you already did time in the military, you don't have to why don't you get a job that's normal and not in danger all the time, So I in the process of me deciding what I was going to do after the military, I joined the Boys and Girls Harbor Conservatory of Music of Harlem. And I went to the Conservatory of Music for 3 years. I learned how to sing salsa. I learned how to improvise. I encountered, and I sang, and I did chorus for like very famous salsa singers, people that I only saw when I was a kid on TV,
Mm-hmm.
And I happen to actually like see them, guys that, in fact, I would say about 6 months ago, I recorded a song where the guy who produced it was Jose Mangual Jr. He was the bongo player and chorus for Hector Lavoe for 10 years.
Okay.
And he has his own hits and everything, and he said he needed a singer for a tune that he had, and out of the three in the tri-state area, he picked me out of all the singers, and I just couldn't believe it. He picked me, and I recorded the song with him, Papo Pepin, which is another guy that played with Willie Colon, for years. And that's it. I started writing my own music and composing all my lyrics, and that's it. I went on my own. And now I did this recently with the help of Jimmy Castro too, Ritmo Caribe Promotions. I got to do this featuring with Frankie Vazquez.
Wow. Yeah.
I wrote the song too.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
when you were a young man, when did you decide that you wanted to be a singer? When did you know that you could sing and you enjoyed singing? By what age?
Yeah. When I was in elementary school, I used to dance, and I used to do like even I would do like a little bit of theater for the school that I was in. I would create the what was going to happen and the plot, and I would tell everybody what they were going to do and stuff like that. So I always had that charisma per se.
Okay.
And but I couldn't believe that I could be a singer because everybody around me were dancers.
Okay.
We didn't have too much. We didn't have places where they taught music, or but everybody was a dancer in Cali. So I just started singing on my own, like just listening to somebody and just singing, and this was singing the national anthem and singing. And I'm sure I was flat sometimes. I was off tune. You know what I mean. And then one day, my mom caught me practicing a song over and over and over. And she opened the door and she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Mom, I want to learn this song." And she laughed at me. She said, "Oh, what do I got? A singer now?" And now she's my number one fan. My last birthday, she brought me a cake, right, with all the lyrics of my last song written on the cake.
Oh, wow.
So, but yeah, since I was little, I knew that at some point I was gonna search for that.
Right. So when you were growing up, Jaime, did you dance Cali style?
Yeah, that was the only style that I knew that existed. So yeah. And it was that's how you got all the girls and stuff like that. You were a good dancer. If you weren't a good dancer, you were just gonna be standing around watching everybody else have fun. So
Okay, all right.
but once I started creating music, I just stopped dancing. Like I just enjoy music so much. I dance while if I'm performing per se. But I just enjoy music so much that I don't even want to break a sweat dancing.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
So, do you play any instruments? Did you take any music classes? Oh, you just said that they didn't have music teachers then.
Yeah, but I took more. It was focused on vocals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so they had an ensemble, right, in the Conservatory of Music. So it was like they had the band, and then they had a teacher for every section. They had a teacher for like the instruments, and then they had a teacher watching us, the guys singing, doing the vocals and the harmonies and all that, and the chorus.
Okay.
So in the process of rehearsing, I would see how they would tell them, "You came in too early, you came in late, you're flat," and I learned from that.
Okay.
So I know how a whole band, the dynamics of the whole band. I know how to do the signals. I know how to talk to the band. I know what they have to do, because my music is recorded with it's a 12-piece band, 12 musicians. 2 trombones, 2 trumpets, and saxophone, baritone.
Okay.
And but I didn't study musical theory per se. I don't read music.
Okay.
And it's kind of ironic because in a sense I've had many chances, right, to learn how to write music, and I've refused because Yes, because it was the same way I felt about, for example, when I came to New York and they wanted to teach me how to dance salsa on two, which is a
Right.
style in New York, right? And they started counting. I said, but if I count, I lose the feeling. I said, if I become a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, so I'm not feeling this, and I'm like a repetitive machine, right? And that's how I felt a little bit, and it might be just ignorant in my part, but it's worked. My ignorance has worked for me. It's been blessed. You know, I refuse to learn how to read or write music, and I've done great because I bring out these feelings. I bring out these things that I know that if I was thinking about them numerically or something like that, I wouldn't be able to do it.
Right.
You know?
Okay. So, how did you meet Jimmy Castro?
Jimmy Castro actually reached out to me, and he told me that he was a promoter and that he was interested in me, in my
Okay.
music, and in my music, you know, and that was that. Now
Okay.
we kept the relationship. He promoted me for a while, and this and that. What I didn't know was that he would also promote Frankie Vazquez.
Okay.
You know, and although we kept the relationship over Facebook and stuff like that, um, I didn't know who else he was promoting. You know, and that's why you just have to be yourself, and you have to be a good person. You just never know who you run into. You never know who knows who, you know, or what happens out of, you know, out of anything you do, right?
That's right. That's right.
As long as you're a good person and you walk a straight line, everything falls into place, you know. So he
Sure.
um he so he contacted me one day. You know, he saw me in a private party where I asked Frankie Vazquez. Um, Actually, it was my wife that was invited to this party. It wasn't even me, right?
Okay. Uh huh.
And I went with her to the party, and Frankie Vazquez is is a guest singer. They had the band playing there, but Frankie
Well,
Vazquez showed up, and it was a private party of two retired police officers, Newark police
uh-huh.
officers. And you know, he came in. He said hello to everybody. I said hello to him. I said, Frankie, I waited until everybody left him alone, you know, because everybody came up on top of him and they wanted
Yeah.
pictures with him and all that, right?
Yeah.
You know, he has his reputation, right? His fame. Yeah. So he's a living legend, like you said, you know.
Yeah.
So so you know, after everything calmed down and people got used to him being there, and you know, they mellowed out a little bit. I walked up to him and I asked him if you know, I first of all I told him I've done vocals for you, I've done chorus for you in the past in Manhattan
Uh-huh.
and stuff like that. And he said to me, I don't remember. He said, I see so many people. And I said, yeah, I expected you to not remember me, you know.
Right.
And I said, but I did it. I think once or twice for you actually. And one time I was with your son, and I told him his son, you know, your son is Fresco, and
Okay.
he said, yeah, maybe, you know, maybe. He said, I kind of remember you, but you look a little different. I said, yeah,
Right.
I lost a little bit of weight, and I let my belly go a little bit, you know. So that was that, and we sat down. Frankie Vazquez started singing. Oh, and I asked him, I said, Frankie, if it's okay with you, can you invite me to sing? You know, like to
Uh-huh.
improvise a little bit with you. And he goes like, sure, no problem. So I sit down with my wife. I'm all excited, and then and Frankie starts singing and singing and singing. He's on his last song, and he hasn't called me up on stage.
Uh-huh.
So I get up there close to the stage, and I told my wife, I'm gonna climb on the stage, and she's like, no, don't do that. If he doesn't call you, she's like, don't do that. If he doesn't call you, and I was like, this is how it is in New York. You got to put your way in. You know, you can't just be. And you know, he told me he was gonna let me sing, and she's like, no, don't do that. So I said, okay, I'm not gonna do it for you. All right, just for you, I'm not gonna do it. And I got so lucky that her friend asked her to go to the bathroom with her.
Uh-huh.
And when she came out of the bathroom, I was already singing on stage.
Dude. Yeah, wow.
So
That's crazy.
So so I improvised, Frankie improvised, and it was a great tune. Everybody got excited. It was trucutu.
Okay.
The whole party was, forget it. They were excited, and we made it go. Everybody's going crazy. They were just screaming,
Mm.
and it's a great feeling. I got off the stage. Frankie gave me a hug, and he said, you did a great job. He said, I didn't know you could. You could get down like that. You know what I mean? And he said, but if you keep it up, he said to me that moment, I never forget. He said, if you keep it up, he said, you got it. He told me, he said, you got it. Because, it's either you got it or you don't. He's like, you got it. He said, you got it. But let me tell you something. He said, don't listen to anybody. Just follow your feelings. He's like, and if you do that, he said, Salsa World is going to talk about you. You'll be fine.
Wow.
Yeah, he was hugging me. I have the video. He was hugging me while he was telling me this, and I couldn't believe how he embraced me. He was great. He's a great guy. So then the videos came out, posted on Facebook about me singing with Frankie and all that. And then Jimmy called me up one day. He said he came up with a great idea. He said, it's like the classic old school salsa with the new generation salsa,
Right.
And he said, let's do something. Do you have a song? I said, I do. I have the lyrics. I sang it for him. He loved it, and he said, let's go.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And Earl, that goes to support what I just said. See, all I did was get up there, collaborate, participate, right? And you never know what comes out of stuff like that.
Yeah.
See, Jimmy saw it. He came up with an idea. Jimmy called me and he built the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I was looking at some of your old videos. You're very talented. You're a very, very talented singer.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Thank
So you're in the studio with Frankie Vazquez. What's running through your mind?
Well, let's start before that. Before I even left my house, I was already thinking of what's going through my mind. You know what I mean? When I was in the studio, I was already like, when you're already in the ring, you're already warmed up.
Okay.
It's before you get in the ring, you say, I still got a chance to get out of this one. You know what I mean? But I was very calm. I was very calm. I've reached a level where I know Frankie is a legend. I know he is a living legend, and I know who he is. I give him all my respect, but I just truly believe that I have what I have to offer. You know what I mean? I know that if I didn't have the skill set that I need to have, life wouldn't just place me there. It's not coincidence. So I got to the studio. I was late. Because I had to cross from New Jersey, crossing to Manhattan, to the Bronx. There was traffic everywhere. But anyway, no excuse. I was late. So I apologized. I said, hey, Frankie, I'm sorry, I'm a little late. He said, don't worry. He was outside the studio. He was standing outside the studio. He said, I don't want to hear no excuses. He says, park the car and you better be prepared.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man. So I parked illegally and everything. I came out of my car. I said, I don't care if I get a ticket when I come back out. I'm going to piss them off, right? So I get out of the car. I go into the studio. Jimmy had like 3 photographers there taking pictures of us and all that. And they took pictures as we started fixing everything, getting ready to sing and all that. And then Frankie says, all right, you want to go first or you want me to go first? And I was like, I'm not going to show him I'm scared. I was like, I'll go right now.
Right.
I was like, if I tell him, no, you go, he might think I'm scared, And I was like, right. I'm not scared. I'm here to fight. So he put me in there first, and I started singing, and every singer and everybody has their things that they're good at, real good at.
Yes.
then things that they're a little, they're not as good, but they're still good. You know, everybody has their virtues, right?
Yes.
I mean, as vocalists. And one of my things is that I got a very powerful voice. That's
Okay.
one of the things, and my range. I have a great range, right?
Okay.
So I go in there, I start recording the part A of the body of the song, and then Frankie himself tells me, "Look, you're doing great." He says, "But you got to step back a little bit because your voice is too powerful, man." He said, he said, "You're good like that." He said, "Just step back, all right?" And I
Uh-huh.
stepped back, kept recording. Then he came in, recorded his part. But you know, Frankie, one thing I have to mention, I have to say is that he was very warm. He was very warm. You know, he was because I met Frankie in the past and I didn't feel that what I felt in the studio. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Right.
he was just a very warm human being, and he never made me feel like he was there to embarrass me or to belittle me, for lack of a better term.
Right.
You know,
That's
for lack of a
beautiful.
better term, he was just like, basically he always made it sound like we're in this together.
Hmm.
You know, and I'm gonna make you look good, and you're gonna make me look good. You know,
That's beautiful.
so
Beautiful.
that's great because and that reflects in the song. If you hear the song, you hear the unity. You know, the how we
Okay.
complement each other percent. You know,
Cool.
but
So, what
I've
is?
been but Earl, I want to mention this. The reason why that jumps out at me is because I've been in recordings with other people where it's almost like, you know, they don't it's almost like they just don't want anything to do with you, pretty much. And
Right.
you're like, why that hostility? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, a lot of artists. I would say every artist has an ego, some type of ego. And I would imagine, some artists think that certain artists aren't on their level or could be in this recording studio with them. But you said he wasn't that way; that he was down to earth, and he was down to earth when I met him as well. He was supposed to be on this interview, but something happened to his mom, and he had to go visit his mom in the hospital, or he would be in this interview as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
he was very and he was very you know, he didn't hesitate to give me a compliment. You know what I mean?
yeah.
He never held back a compliment. He always
Right.
told me. If he heard that I had a powerful voice, he told me. If he heard me, you know, if he liked something how I improvised,
Hmm.
he wouldn't mind telling me like this one's great.
Yeah.
You know, it's just very, very down to earth. And then he spoke to me a lot after the recording. You know,
Yeah. Well, I find that Jaime that most people that are very talented, they never feel threatened. So they end up being down to earth, 'cause they're not threatened, so there's no reason for them to be combative or look down on people.
right, right.
So what inspired you to write Mariana? I don't speak Spanish, so I've heard the track, which is slamming, but I don't know what the words mean. So what is the song about, and what inspired you to write the song?
I know the same thing you know. I don't know what I don't know what inspired me to write this song. I was walking down the mall. I was in the mall one time and I was with my wife again. We're at the
Okay.
mall. We're always together. So uh, so you know, I'm walking down the stores and stuff, and all of a sudden, boom, the melody came to my head. You know, I didn't think anything of it. I didn't, you know, ba-na-na-na-na-na, ba-na-na-na. That's all I thought about
Uh-huh.
at the moment. And then I recorded it on my phone, the melody. Then I got home, and then one day I just said, "Yo no sé qué pasó con Mariana," and I wrote that.
Okay.
And I don't know anyone named Mariana, you know. And it's funny. I mean, it's just things that just come to your mind. You don't know where they came from. A lot of songs have been like that to me, to me. and I basically wrote the song, and the song it speaks about that Mariana lost her swing once she started walking around without him.
Okay.
That's basically the.
Okay.
So then the chorus says, Mariana, Mariana, swing, right? And what the chorus is saying is, Mariana, Mariana lost her swing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, she lost her swing.
Wow.
So in the beginning of the song, if you hear when we speak back and forth, Frankie and I say to Frankie, Frankie, ¿y qué fue lo que le pasó a Mariana? And I'm basically telling him, Frankie, what happened to Mariana? And he's like, I don't know, I don't know, Jaime Andres. You tell me, and that's when we start speaking.
Yeah. Nice. So, well, the cut is slamming, and I can't wait for the premiere to come out. I know Jimmy has it premiering on a lot of radio stations, so that should be really, really big for sure. And I'm excited about it. I got a couple of friends that are going to be doing videos to the song and reaching out to some other dancers to do some videos. This should be pretty exciting. So you wrote the lyrics. Did you write the music for the song as well?
No, but I do participate in the production. So, I have an arranger, right? And we do what's called a rough draft which is with the synthesizer would create the what the instruments are going to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I participate in the production. I tell them I want the introduction to be shorter. I want the instead of the trombones doing this line, I want the trumpets. I want to do here instead of 4 choruses, I want to do 6 or 5. And I participate that way in the production. But I don't write the music. Once the rough draft is completely done and we're and I'm happy with it, and I would consider myself a perfectionist. You know what I mean? and if you ask Jimmy, he'll tell you the same thing. Sometimes Jimmy tells me, he's like, just don't think about it so much, man. Just
right.
just go ahead. But yeah, so then once I feel that it's done, that the rough draft is done, then we go into the studio and we record.
Okay. All right. So, Jaime, do you you say you do dance? Have you ever taken any formal dance lessons?
Well, my ex-wife was a salsa instructor, and she tried to teach me the on two because that's what she dances, the New York on two style.
Right.
And I refused. So I stayed with my Colombian salsa, the way Colombians dance,
Okay, the Cali
but
style.
Don't get me wrong, I can still dance with any other culture. I just the on two thing is very specific, I mean, I've been to Cuba and I've danced with Cubans, I've been to Puerto Rico and danced with Puerto Ricans, but it's just that the on two New York thing is just very different. A lot of turns, and it's pretty cool though,
Right.
It's just that it's not for me.
So, as you said, Colombia, salsa is huge in Colombia. Did you have any favorite groups from Colombia that were your favorites when you were growing up?
Yeah. The early years of Grupo Nietzsche.
Okay.
Grupo Nietzsche. Yeah. And my biggest I'm fan. I don't know. Yeah, he did sing for a couple of bands, but I'm just gonna name him, the artist himself, Joy Arroyo.
Okay.
Joy Arroyo. He's somebody I really look up to.
All right, that sounds good. So, Jaime, what are some of your future plans?
I plan to keep creating music until my last breath.
Okay. Are you working on an album or anything like that?
I was thinking about doing because I have about 10 songs or something like that already. 10 singles, or 11 or 12 singles, something like that.
Okay.
So I was thinking about like get taking what I consider my best songs and releasing an album
Okay.
with all these singles, right? But here's the reason why I haven't done it. It's because I feel like every time I make a song, I just make it better every time. I make a better one and a better one. So I'm like, where am I gonna end up? You know? So once I hit that, that level, that plateau, and I stay there, I think I'm gonna collect my best songs and maybe do an album. Or
Yeah.
maybe I'll just do an album of like of all new songs,
Yeah. Yeah.
original songs. Yeah.
Maybe get Jimmy to produce it. This was Jimmy's first production of your song here. I know he was very excited about it.
Yes, yes, yes. He's very excited to see that you know he what he does is promotion, and so to be a participant as in the production like this,
Yes.
yeah, it's very exciting for him. Yeah.
Yeah. I love his radio station. Ritmo Caribe
Production.
Radio. Have you checked out his station? I'm sure you have.
Yeah, Ritmo Caribe promotions. Yeah, yeah. I've gone in there and requested my own songs.
Yeah. Good. So Jaime, you're 39 now, so you've been singing like since you were 18, correct?
Yeah, I was singing since I was younger, but when I started taking it serious,
Okay.
and yeah, it was about 18, But I remember in Cali they have a band of the military,
Okay.
and I remember they were playing one time like outside my school.
Uh-huh.
And I remember I was only like, I don't know, I was like maybe 12 years old, and I got up on stage and I asked them to let me sing Llorarás of Oscar de Leon. Llorará, 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 and I got on stage and sang it, and another time also I was in Queens, New York. I was 17 at this point, and Oscar de Leon was singing this song personally.
Right.
Well, he was singing there that night. It was a club, and they let me in with my mom. She spoke to the bouncer. She said he's not gonna drink. He just wants to see him. And I went inside, and I asked him to let me sing that song, and he said yeah. And he brought me on stage and let me sing the song. He was doing chorus, and I sang the song. So I always knew that I just it's something very specific when you're a singer. It's even hard to explain. It's because you just feel something that it's very, very different.
Right.
It's almost like you feel that you release weight from your soul, per se. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So once you have that in you, it's like you can't get it out of your body anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Jaime, when you get your album together, your 10 cuts together, we're gonna have to bring you to DC.
Yeah. I recorded with a guy. I think he's in DC too. Leonardo Garcia. I recorded
Yes.
He's another one. He chose me for one of his most important albums, his recent one. He chose me for a song that's titled Agarra Camino.
Okay.
He had great singers in that album because he's the arranger and piano player. Marcialis Trudis. He had like great singers, real famous guys, known guys. And he also asked me to sing one of the songs for him. And the funny part is that even Jimmy told me, he's like, this is one of my favorite songs in the album, the one you did. And I was like, thanks, man.
Yeah, you have a great voice. You have a great voice, and obviously, from listening to you, you don't have a problem with jumping on stage. So I can relate to that. That's how I am when I hear these big bands, mambo bands playing. I want to jump on stage and dance with them. So
okay.
It's good stuff.
So you're a dancer. You're a dancer. All right.
I try. I'm not a world champion, but I can hold my own.
I got you.
Definitely, for sure.
Well, I'm
So
scared. I'm scared of people that are humble like that because sometimes they surprise you. You know.
yeah, no, I'm pretty straight up. If I could tell you I was really good, I would tell you. If I'm
Oh,
not, I
okay.
would tell you. I'm
All right.
okay. I'm okay.
All
So
right. All right.
that's for sure. Yeah, I'm excited about Jimmy's radio station. He was telling me about it for years when I was like, yeah, Jimmy, yeah, whatever. But recently I've been paying attention to it, and they got slamming cuts on there 24/7. I love the station for sure. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I he sent me a cut of the new song Mariana, and it is banging. It's banging.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a big hit. I'm sure it's gonna be great for your career, and a lot of people are gonna probably want to have you on, do some things with them
Yeah.
because you're awesome, man. Awesome.
Thank you. And Frank, that's one thing that makes a big difference. I mean, um, Frankie is known worldwide. You know, you could
Yeah.
see Frankie one day in a video in Peru. You could see him another day in Spain. You can see him. I mean, he's singing. He's one of the few salsa artists. And when I say salsa artist, I mean a salsa artist. Because what happens is, with all due respect, right? A lot of guys that are supposedly singing salsa, they're singing more romantic ballads. They have the rhythms of salsa.
Okay.
But I can sing a romantic salsa, and you can tell I'm a salsero. Like when I sing, right?
Right.
You have other guys that are not really doing salsa, and they put themselves in the genre of salsa, but they're really not. So with that
Right.
being said, what I'm trying to get is that Frankie is still one of those guys from the old school, real salsa guys, you know, and that's why. And there's one way you can know who's a real salsa singer, you know, and it's if he knows how to improvise.
Right.
Because back in the days, it was a requisite. You could not be a salsa singer if you didn't know how to improvise.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
had to you had to know how to be off the top of your head, start, you know. And some guys, a few here and there got over and they didn't know how to improvise, but they had exceptional voices, right? They had great
Right.
voices, and they slipped through the cracks. But the real guys, they had to be able to sing. They had to have timing, improvise,
Right.
you know. And you know, so Frankie is one of those guys. He improvises. He is worldwide. He's known.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you something. I think salsa has lost a lot of power. Now, salsa was the mother of the genres of the Latin genres for like 30 years, and we have to understand that too. But I think that what happened is that what 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 Frankie Vazquez is doing right now with me is what a lot of these guys should have done with guys that they personally thought were good. Get the younger guys and pull them out. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But
Yes.
but but a lot of these guys just worried about them doing their gigs, and you know what? And they wouldn't let you in because you're not from the crowd, or you're not from the clique,
Exactly.
or 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 just because you didn't have their age, they didn't believe in you, but they weren't thinking that far.
Right.
Frankie, he's a little bit more contemporary, so he'll be. Now, don't get me wrong, I've never seen Frankie collaborate with anyone else. Maybe I don't know about it, you know,
Right.
but
Right.
I can tell that he really liked me. He really
Right.
liked what I do, and but it's a I'm very appreciative of him, actually doing what Jimmy said, which is I'm bringing the classic old school guy, the OG, and I'm
Uh-huh.
putting the new guy, but not
Right.
just a new guy, but a new guy that I feel like is going to bring that old school flavor into
Yeah.
today and keep it
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the fact that he did this collaboration with you, that speaks very highly of you. I mean, he He's he's Frankie Vazquez. He's not just gonna go to the studio with anybody.
Absolutely.
So,
And even more exciting for me is that because I'm gonna do a parenthesis and tell you something real quick. Okay,
okay,
I'm gonna come back to the Frankie Vazquez helping me or collaborating with me, right? So when I started singing, I was focused on learning to be a good singer, focus on learning how to improvise, focus on how high I could take my range, how low I could take my range, and I wanted to learn. I was learning myself, my identity. Who, I didn't want to sound like anyone, but I wanted to be able to sing everyone's songs. So it's a challenge, and the idea, it's a back and forth. But in the process of me going through all that, I focused on me singing, right? And then I ran into a brick wall. What was that wall? I didn't have lyrics when I wanted to record my first song. And I started asking all my friends, people that I always believed that they were going to help me out, composers that have written for Enrique Iglesias, they have written for all kinds of people. And I said, listen, I need a song, I'll pay you, They didn't want to, because they were afraid that I was going to take one of their songs and do a bad job.
right?
Because they understand the business. So they know this guy could be a great singer, but he doesn't know anything about a studio.
Right.
Doesn't know how to read and write music. What is he going to do with my song? So now that's going to put a blemish in my reputation, right? No one ever said that to me, but that's what I conclude, right?
Right.
So in turn, what they did was, instead of me getting discouraged, in turn, what that caused in me was a reaction that, because I go forward, I don't back down. Nothing intimidates me. I just go for mine, and I turned around and instead of that discouraging me, I said, well, I'm going to start writing my songs. And I put singing to the side for a little bit, and I specialize in. And look, now I'm writing songs for people in other countries. I write songs for, people asking for lyrics, So going back to Frankie, the reason why I told you this about writing the songs is because now going back to Frankie, how you say that it's, that him wanting to record with me says it in its all, right? And that it should tell me, that I am talented, right?
Right.
But even more proud I feel of the fact that he's singing one of my songs, my lyrics. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Most definitely.
When I did, so that right there is a stamp that I've reached a level of writing that, it's on a pro level.
Exactly. That's for sure. That's great, man. I look so forward to you coming to DC. I know they'll love you here because, like I said,
Leonardo Garcia invited me to DC to sing with him one time over there. I know people are great out there. They follow salsa, got a big following. I think it froze up. All right, I resigned.
are you
I
there?
signed back in. Yeah.
Sorry about that. I
No,
don't know
sorry.
what happened, but we're back on.
Technical difficulties. That's all.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we definitely want to bring you down to DC for sure. Talk to Jimmy and see if we can work something out, make it happen. You know. So
That'll be nice.
yeah, I'm going to. I'm excited about the premiere coming out on November 29th. I got some of my DJs that are going to put it on their stations as well. It's going to be a big blow up for sure. You know, so I'm definitely excited for sure. But we're gonna wrap this up, Jaime, because I know you're busy. I want to thank you so much for taking your time out to talk to me on the show and discuss your experiences with Frankie Vazquez. And I'm sure the viewers are looking forward to listening to your new song because it's hot. It's hot for sure. You know. So
Thank you, Earl.
thank you so much. I look forward to meeting you personally. Normally, when I interview people, it's people I've known for 20 years. But,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Okay.
so I was kind of nervous. I didn't want to mess anything up, but I think I did okay.
No, don't worry. I think I was more nervous than you.
You were very nice to me, and I appreciate it. So, Jaime, I'm gonna meet you soon, and you're gonna see how I'm able to dance.
All right.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. Sounds good.
All right. Thank you so much, Jaime. You have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
All
You
right.
too. Likewise. Be well.
Okay.